to start off, we're going to look at the total crypto market cap. And we're going to kind of go over what's happening here. So as we can see, that this was the very important support zone that we had drawn for ever since back here. This was anywhere between 1.27 and 1.34 trillion, and this is regarding the entire crypto market cap. And as we can see, we just had multiple rejections at this important resistance zone, which this was important because as we can see, our first drop, we came back up and we were holding this as support. And then right when we broke down, it's been resistance ever since. So that's just a classic breakout right here, and then confirmation. And here we are now coming to the downside. I'm going to draw some more support zones to take a look at what else can potentially give us a bounce, which we got that right there. But unfortunately, to be completely honest, I'm going to get this out of here because it's kind of void now. There really isn't much. This is what I would call liquidity void. There's not much liquidity here. Let's take a look at the volume profile to maybe draw another conclusion to see. Yeah, volume profile does confirm that. Do you see how there's the lowest amount of volume right here? Then there all is up here, even right here. This right here is the equal to this, but this zone right here is a straight liquidity void, which that basically just means there's not much volume there, not much liquidity there. Price moves fast within that zone, kind of like what we saw right here. And as we can see, we've only seen wicks right here since back in February. So if we do break below this 1.23, which we're on right now, and preferably see a confirmation back up, which would look something like this in my opinion, and then come back up, maybe even touch it twice. Then if we break this trend right here, it's going to be a short right back down to this level right here. And we could even say that the level is right here versus right here. So this would be the zone that we would bounce in. As of right now, we are looking at a near 13% drop overall. That'd bring us back down to $1 trillion market cap. And technically, it would kind of confirm it as support. And at that point, I would suspect that we would definitely get some type of bounce. Even if it's something like this, we would get some type of bounce right down there. I'd say at minimum something like that. You know, come back up, maybe test our resistance zone right there. Might even be shorter, and then we got to make a decision at that point. But that is basically the route in a bearish scenario, which we're getting very close to that. You know, there's really nothing too bullish I could even find on this chart, especially that the RSI is kind of just hanging out at 34, which, you know, usually it's either oversold, hanging out around 50, or overbought. So with that being said, it is likely that if we clear this zone right here and we fail to get back above it, like I said, something like that, we might not even do that. We might just come right back down here. But even if we get something like this and we see it testing, we could draw a trend line, and that would be an entry for a nice short on multiple coins. And you know, we'd have to play it day by day or even hour by hour and see how that would look. But basically, you know, that would be the bearish scenario there. And for a little bullish case, all we got to do is just draw this trend line right here, and we need to see a break of that. So as simple as that may sound, this is really what we're looking at. It's kind of like a descending channel. You could say it's a falling wedge. Some people might say it's a falling wedge. I saw the falling wedge on Bitcoin. It was surely a falling wedge. And it is interesting because that is a bullish pattern, but there's nothing really too bullish about the price action right now. Just looking at straight price action. So as we can see, for the bullish case, we need to see us regain this zone right here. We need to see something like this. We need to see us trading closing candles up here. Then I'd say, okay, we likely are going to get a push at least to the top of here. If we confirm that, we're going to definitely go to here. And at that point, it'd be our fourth time trying to break it. We'd probably be over this MA by that point. So that would be a bullish case. And then that'd be this is the true test right here, 1.46. That is the true test. And basically that's basically how it's going to play out. in a very simple way. You know, it's just not too much is going on. You know, each time we have these live streams, not much is changing, unfortunately. So, you know, we kind of just got to play it day by day and see, you know, wait for us to get a big trend break. But last live stream, I said within 7 to 9 days, I expect a big move, which this may be the start of it. This really may be the start of it. And at that point, that would be a near 25% drop from when we had our last live stream over here on the 10th, I believe it was. I think it was right around here was our last live stream. So that is just something to keep in mind. We got to keep eyes on that, but I can't really say it too more complicated than that. So we're gonna look at a week chart right now just to kind of see what we're looking at here. So if we pull this from the bottom, take it. This is our last bull trend. It's the last bull run. So we say that this is the bottom right here. Okay. So as we can see, this started off nice and steady. This bull run, it went up high, came back down fast, went up high. So instead of going really slow throughout this and making a nice curved trend, this thing was jibber jabber, and then we kind of just exploded ever since the COVID crash. But as we can see, we aren't too far away from kind of where we are on track. But if we do start breaking lower, and especially this right here, but this, if we go under a 1 trillion, you know, there's not a doubt in my mind that it is considered some type of bear market. You know, we could even have considered it here. We could consider it right now. But for the last confirmation we need to say it's a bear market, it would likely be under this $1.0 trillion mark right here. But it's just cool to see comparison right here of kind of where we were last time, you know, because we could say that this is the bottom, but that technically wasn't. This was the bottom right here. See how we went lower than where we went here. This was the bottom of the last bull run. And as we can see, we jumped right to parabolic. Instead of going nice and slow and steady, kind of like this was, and then curve it up, we would have been able to go a lot higher where we predicted here. You know, I'm not saying 20 trillion, but it would have been a lot healthier. But instead, the crypto market just got filled with a bunch of hype. PayPal, everyone, Elon Musk, everyone just jumped on it all at once. And that's exactly why price looks like this, because it jumped on all at once. Back here, we didn't really have too much going for it. That's why it pumped. Every time it pumped, we had like a 30% minimum correction. And then we see that. But this right here, this was just bam, straight up. I mean, yeah, you call those little corrections, but those were nothing like this right here. These sideways moves, they let us go sideways for a lot longer. So that allowed us to go higher. That's a 1,092 day right there. And from bottom right here, it's 882 days. So, you know, it's a reasonable length, but the reason why it wasn't as long or even longer is because price needs to uptrend in a healthy way for it to continue to go higher. As we can see here, nothing about this was healthy. Unfortunately, it just was not the healthiest way to move. We even had clear 5 waves from right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this kind of right here was just jibber jabber. Our 5 waves were already done. You could see it more clearly on Bitcoin as Bitcoin just did this, then dumped. The 5 waves were in clearly. So now what we're looking for is potentially an ABC, but it is kind of hard to say if that's in yet, because if we go on the day chart, we can kind of technically say that we already do have an ABC. So that is the thing that we got to keep in mind, is we could say that the ABC's in. Now, if that's the case, then we need to see another ABC. It needs to bounce right here, and we need to come back up to there. That would be a clear Elliott wave, you know, correction wave, ABC correction wave. So that'd be something to keep in mind. But if we do break this, then I'd say that ABC formation, ABC is then void. And at that point, we'd be looking at kind of a bigger ABC, something like that, if we do break these supports right here. But I do think that by August, September, we are going to start some type of uptrend at minimum, because crypto doesn't usually always just go straight down for months and months and months. You know, we could kind of say that this is what's happening right now. So if we pull this over here, this right here was the last bull run. So if we could say that this is kind of what's happening right now, we're going to put that right to the top and put it to right now. See when that ends right there? Look at that. That ends right about August, September. So that is about the max amount of time that we went without, I could even fix it right here to make it a little bit smaller. We might see something like that. See, it's about August, September right there. And then look what happened after that 2 months of downtrending, which I believe it still was about 2 months. Yeah, we'll call it 94 days. 94 days of down after our high was set in. Right now we're calling it, right now we are calling it 66 days. So look at that. 90 days, 95 right there puts us right in the middle of August, right by August, September. So what I'm saying is that very soon we are going to start some type of uptrend. And at that point, it's going to tell us, okay, are we watching? Are we following the 2017 bull run near exact, or are we starting something new here? Which if we're starting something new, then this is going to continue to go higher. But more specifically, what's going to happen is that we're going to break over the fib retracement, our important zone. So I can't predict where the bottom is, but say that the bottom is right here. This is the zone we would need a break for us to say, okay, we're not in a bear market. This was just a new thing that crypto's doing in the middle of a bull market. So that's something that is very, very interesting, because I don't know if we're going to follow the same thing we did 4 years ago. But if we do, it's going to be, it's going to be a long, 2 years coming up. But we can't say that for sure yet. But as we can see, we had a whole month of strong revival. That would basically be, it's about 96%. So if we do drop down to here, this zone right here, 96%, we're talking, yeah, right up to this golden ratio. That's why this is so powerful right here. Because even if we drop right here, we're at minimum going to see something to at least back to here. We are. But then at that point, that's where we make up our decision. Okay, are we going to break this, continue rising? Okay, that point, I'd say, okay, we're back. We never even entered a bear market. This was just a new thing in a bull market to set us up for the next trend. But if we start coming down hard from here, that would be considered a bear market, and then we're looking for something like that. In all honesty, we would be kind of confirming our previous high, potentially maybe to even 750 billion. I don't know if it's going to go down to 580, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. There's not much going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Everything kind of looks like this. That's why I like to use this index right here, total, because it's very, very powerful. It grabs together everything, and it makes it easy for us to take a look at what's kind of going on. Even the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin, this is altcoin market cap. Pretty much the same concept right here. Basically the same concept. The only difference is that altcoins have less to come down to touch its previous high versus the total crypto market cap. But basically it is the same thing right here. And if we look here, say the bottom was in right there. See, it's a lot different now. It really is a lot different, so we can't even make the conclusions on here. If I do something like that, it doesn't really make much sense. Unfortunately on the altcoin market cap, we can't really compare back then. The reason why is because there wasn't many alts back here. 2016, 17, you're looking at maybe NEM, Dash, Litecoin, XRP, just not too many Doge. But now we have thousands of coins. We have DeFi, we have NFT, so we can't really go back and compare that. That's kind of why I like to just use the total to make bigger size comparisons. But one thing I do want to look at, I don't know if you guys ever look at this stuff, but it is interesting to me, is kind of the 1 month time frame. Look at this on here. As we can see, 3 months, big revival back up. That's why we're going on our 3rd month. We have 12 days left. But if we look here, let me get this stuff out of here. Ooh. This right here is definitely not the sign we need to see. As we can see, big pump, that was our bull run. Big pump, that was potentially our bull run. But if we do bounce here and start coming back up, and if we break over this line, we could say that we're not in that bear market, and this is just something new. So that is also something to keep in mind. The momentum doesn't really have too much to look at it. The MACD surely does not look good at all. That bearish cross isn't even near happening. I predict that bearish cross, if it does occur, bearish cross is going to be somewhere in February of next year. So, that would be the bear market scenario, and it surely would be, it'd be a boring time, but you always can trade it. But I think that, I don't even think, but based on data, Bitcoin and crypto is actually having their cycles are becoming shorter and shorter. So if you look at this, it's a Brave New Coin Liquid Index. I'll show you guys the parabolic curve right now. This is very, very interesting to look at, as we can see right here. This is our parabolic curve. I'm not sure if it's gonna look the best right here, but as we can see, this right here, I believe, this wasn't a bear market, so it was very, very short. But if we look right here, this was our first bull cycle. Then look at our second bull cycle. It was shorter, correct? Okay, now if we take our second bull cycle and show it over to this, it's from the bottom. This one was even shorter. So that means that the bear markets are getting shorter. This was the longest. This was a little bit shorter. Now, if this is a bear market, it's going to be shorter. So that is something to always keep in mind. It is hard to say kind of where this is. So we could just draw it right there and say we never hit it. We could pull it down, say we did hit it. But I'd say, well, let's keep it right there just for purposes of this video. But as of right now, this shows that we cannot go lower. If we drop straight down right now, if we break under 17,000, Bitcoin broke its parabolic curve, and it's technically donezo. So that is something to keep in mind, that if Bitcoin breaks under 16K, I don't really know what the future holds for it. At that point, I won't say all cryptos are going to tank, but I think that there'd be a big flippening, which I already predict is going to happen at some point, if you guys are wondering. Bitcoin, I think 5 years it's going to be dethroned. I'm not saying it's not going to be around, but it's old and clunky. It's kind of like, I always use the example of BlackBerry. Once the iPhone came out, people, they moved on to the newer technology. It's kind of the same thing. We hear about this Lightning Network, this and that. That's great and all, but you can't make a Model T a spaceship, and that's what they're trying to do with this Lightning Network. It's better just to use something that's built for it, newer technology. So that's kind of my opinion on it. I'm not saying Bitcoin won't hit 100K one day, but I think within the next 5 years it's going to be dethroned without a doubt. Might even happen sooner. But just something to keep in mind is that we can't break under 16,000. Even if we drop right down right now, we cannot break under 16,000, or it broke its entire parabolic trend. And as we can see, we could, you could confirm that right here. Another way to confirm that is in a linear way, is I could just draw this trend line right here. And look where that brings us. I'd like to use it right there. That was kind of a false breakout, but we came right back in. Look where that brings us. I could even pull it even tighter if we want to use this example right here. This right here is about the 17,000. So I'd say that's the lowest Bitcoin can go, or else, it's entering I don't even know what it's going to be entering, but it kind of be the dethroning. Could even come back down to $1,000, but we'll see that when the time comes. But that's kind of what I'm seeing on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. I could continue going over a bunch of things, but if you guys want to look at something specific, then let me know in the crypto chat, since we don't have a chat for the live session. We'll look over something specific if you guys want to. But if you guys are wondering, why is this happening, maybe some of you guys just joined in SA Capital, that right there's a clear 5-wave structure, and it went into a rising wedge, which is just the two biggest top signals you could get, and then here we are. This was necessary. If you put on the 1 month chart, not even 1 month, if you put on the week chart, it can't keep growing. Never before in history. Same thing right here. See how it came down for a while? Even right here. We came from here all the way up. Look what happened. 2 years of going down. It always, the straight up, 2 years of coming down. Same concept here. So people that were asking or calling for 100K right here, simply they weren't educated on market cycles and strength in general. There was just too many signs. I mean, look at the bearish divergences on the MACD, the histogram, bearish divergences starting on the momentum ever since February. See when this high was hit? Each of these highs, they had lower strength. Same thing with the RSI. We even started bearish divergences back in January. And as we can see, ever since, we have not been able to make a higher high. So when this breaks, it's going to be also another confirmation we have a little bull trend coming. But this pump right here had the most strength. This had the second least, third least, fourth least, fifth least. And that's what happened after that. So that's kind of why this is happening. And it's completely normal in my opinion. This right here is not normal. It's not normal right here. I've never seen this before. I already look back the past 10 years. Bitcoin has never made something, any type of formation like this in history. So this is something completely new, and that's why so many people are, some people are calling for 20K, some people are calling for 50K next week. But I'm not going to call for anything until we get clear breakouts of important support and resistances, which basically we're calling at 29.8 in a simple way and 36.6. I think a break under here is going to be super bearish. It might even be bearish down to 24K, and we'll bounce right back up a week later. But if we break back up over here, we're going to at least revisit the high 47Ks. And thinking that the bottom is already in, we'd be looking at somewhere between the 0.5 and the 0.618. So 47 to 50K if we do break over this 36,600. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm not going to waste your guys' time talking over and going over the same things. So let me know right now if you guys want me to go over something specific, or if you guys do have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But I could go over a bunch of altcoins, but it's unless you guys want to, it's just not really too necessary. But this is something I want to show you guys. Look at this right here. Ooh. This right here is very, very interesting. I've never seen anything like this recently, at least. Dash pumped nearly 100%, and this is a top 50 coin. Dash pumped 100% today in literally 70% from 10:01 to 10:05 in 4 minutes. It nearly doubled. So that is just something very interesting, because look what happened last time. See this right here? This right here, I believe, predicted Bitcoin to continue going higher. Yes, it did. See this right here? See when this massive candle, this shook everyone too. I remember this. This was like right at the beginning of 2020. And then look what happened to Bitcoin after. This is just a theory, but look. Yeah, we did have a little correction, but Dash didn't go higher from its wick, but Bitcoin continued to go higher. Same kind of concept happened right here. Dash pumped a bunch, and then Bitcoin started going afterwards. And this right here was kind of, it's not really the same scenario there, but it's just something to keep in mind that Dash, weirdly enough, has actually predicted big moves before. So this is just something to keep in mind, as we had the third highest volume on Binance on the 1-day candle, but on the 12-hour candle, we had the second highest volume in history within that 12 hours. So that is just very, very interesting. And if we drop down to the 8-hour, might have even been, yeah, it was still the second biggest. So that's just something to keep in mind, as it still is kind of going up. It's up 20% today. If we go over here, look at the two things that are up today. Dash and ETC, dinosaur coins. Everything else is a sea of red. This is the top 100 list. So that is just something to, just keep your eyes on. If this continues going up, it might be a good sign for the market, because we did break our entire downtrend as it was making a clear falling wedge pattern, which is bullish, and bam. So this is just something to keep in mind. I thought I'd show you guys that. But I see no one has questions, so I'll give you maybe a few more minutes. Let me think if there's anything else to see here. Oh, Captain Crypto. Don't you think the right shoulder is too stretched out for head and shoulders on Bitcoin? Are you talking about this Head and Shoulders, Captain Crypto? Or are you talking about this one? This one right here? Well, like this big one, or the one on top? Oh, yeah, no. Whoever's calling, if Peter Brand's calling for this is no longer a Head and Shoulders. No, I don't. Yeah, just from my near 5 years of experience, this is no longer a Head and Shoulders. This was a Head and Shoulders, even though it had a kind of a double head. This was clearly a Head and Shoulders. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say this because it need to be a quick pronounced. It need to be kind of similar shape. So look, if we take this right here, it would need to be something like that, which it never had that clear rainbow like. See, this is like a rainbow like. We never had something like. We had a bunch of little ones, but I wouldn't say that that's a Head and Shoulders anymore. You know, not saying that not saying that Bitcoin can't go down, but just using that pattern to say it's a Head and Shoulders, I wouldn't say that anymore. But Hunted said, so let's say Bitcoin is dethroned. How do other coins scale? Honestly, there needs to be a point where they decouple from Bitcoin, and even if it's a disastrous moment, like if Bitcoin just gets completely dethroned, if I don't know. People say that governments can't, whatever, shut it down, this and that. But if they ban mining everywhere, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Bitcoin will just crash to zero, like literally near zero, maybe 100, maybe 1,000, whatever. It will have a large crash we've never seen before. And then at that point, the other coins will rise from the ashes. And that's kind of what will create our new crypto market. So it's bound to happen at some point. It really, really is bound to happen at some point. And I'm not just saying that. People think, I hold Bitcoin to $1 million. I don't think so. I thought that when I first joined 2016, but not anymore. I really don't think that Bitcoin will make it past 200K. That's just my honest opinion. If Bitcoin needed a scale for the entire, this is a nice fact. If Bitcoin needed a scale for the entire world, it would be using 20 times the electricity that the world uses right now just for Bitcoin. So proof of work, it just doesn't work. It does work to the extent that it's really secure, it's really decentralized, but it will never scale to become something huge. Less than 0.01% of the population uses Bitcoin right now. If we even had 2% of the population use Bitcoin, it would be using such a significant amount of energy, and with all these people trying to push the climate change agenda now, it's just not going to happen, in my opinion. There's just no way that they're going to let something that some random person created be the global reserve currency and use 50% of all the electricity that's consumed in the world. It's just not going to happen. I mean, Canada said by 2030 we can't even have gas vehicles. So, unless Bitcoin runs off of completely renewable energy and they make these miners that use a tiniest fraction of a piece of electricity, it's just not going to happen, in my opinion. It's old and clunky. If you look back at the past few hundred years, anything that was old and clunky besides gold always got overtaken by something else that was more efficient, and especially turning into a technological world, Bitcoin is just very outdated technology. Z21 said, is ETH going to take over in that case? Yeah, if Ethereum is upgraded to 2.0 to proof of stake, if it's in that position, if it's close, then yeah, that would be the next in line. Absolutely. We can't say until it happens, but yes, that's kind of how that would go. But yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed that. Looked at a few different things today because, it's just kind of boring. I showed you guys in the beginning. If you guys missed that, take a look at the live stream video. It's going to be uploaded to YouTube. So, I hope you guys got some insight from this. And we will, the 6:30 at Monday is always going to be, always going to be the crypto live stream day. But, I just think the world's evolving so quickly that we can't be stuck in our ways. we can't think that some old thing is going to be the new thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be completely eradicated, but to think that Bitcoin's going to be the top the next 5 years, going into how much all these global leaders are pushing this climate change things that we can't even eat meat, it's not going to make it, in my opinion. We don't even know who made it, so that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed that. If you have any other questions, let me know. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you next week.